Our next guest on News Radio 102.9 KARN Newsmaker line is an Iraq and Afghanistan war hero. I think we're blessed to have him as our United States Senator, Tom Cotton. Sir, thank you for coming on the program. I want to start off with a real easy question. Former Romney McCain advisor Mike Murphy says if there was a secret impeachment vote in the Senate, 30 Republican senators, if they didn't have to go on record, 30 Republican senators would vote to convict the president. True or false?
Hey, Doc, it's good to be on with you. That is false. At least of all the friends I have in the Senate, I don't know many Republicans who would be so duplicitous as to vote to impeach our duly elected president on a secret ballot.
Exactly.
And I can't say that there's not one or two politicians who might say something differently than what they secretly feel in Washington.
Right.
I know that will shock all of your listeners.
I'm stunned.
But no, I recognize, certainly, and most of my colleagues in the Senate recognize that this president is duly elected by the American people in accordance with our Constitution, and unlike so many politicians, he has actually kept his promises from the very beginning. He has nominated conservative judges. He has stood by Israel. He has rebuilt our military. Just to give you a few examples of things that even Republican senators Republican presidents haven't always done in the past.
Very good point, sir. Look, a lot of my listeners believe, a more serious question, a lot of my listeners believe any red flag law would be open to abuse and could violate their Second and Fourth Amendment rights. I'm so thankful that you came on the show today, because here's your opportunity to just tell everybody, where do you stand on red flag laws?
Yeah, so, Doc, I strongly support all Arkansans' Second Amendment rights, and I have not and I would not support any law that would deprive Arkansans of their Second Amendment rights or any other rights under the Constitution. So-called red flag laws are potential subjects for abuse. You know, I think California, for instance, has had one that deprives law-abiding citizens of their Second Amendment rights without any kind of due process, and it opens up law enforcement for potential abuses, whether it's failed business partners or disgruntled employees or spiteful exes. That's not only a violation of individual rights, it is also a threat to public safety, much like the practice of so-called swatting, which has unfortunately happened to some conservative media figures, where you call up and you report a heinous crime at someone's home and the SWAT team shows up when nothing is really happening. So I would not support such laws in Washington. I would not support any law that would violate the due process rights and the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding Arkansans.
Now, when people say, well, there would be safeguards, you know, we're not going to do it like in the other states, there would be safeguards and, you know, you get to go before a judge, et cetera, I'm thinking, well, I know some liberal judges in Little Rock who probably think I should not, have my Second Amendment rights. So, I mean, is that issue, I hope, dead in Washington?
Well, from my standpoint, that issue was never really alive, Doc, because these matters are appropriately handled by local law enforcement.
Yeah.
Look, the federal government doesn't have a proper role in that, nor is it within the capabilities of the federal government.
Right.
It is local sheriff's departments and local law enforcement officials in our police departments, which unfortunately often have to deal with the sad fact that we have too many people in this country with mental health problems who are not getting the mental health treatment they need. I hear that from sheriff's deputies and police officers all the time. They feel like they're the frontline mental health experts in our society.
Yeah.
They are the ones that know who's a danger in the community, who is repeat criminals, or someone who, say, is homeless because they have mental health problems. The FBI or the ATF or the DEA, they perform important functions, but they don't live with us in our communities. They could never know such things. So not only, so you asked if it was dead. In my opinion, it was never alive to begin with in Washington, because that is not a proper role for the federal government, nor is it a role that the federal government is capable of performing regardless.
Very good, very good. We're speaking with Senator Tom Cotton here on the Doc Washburn Show. Sir, with each passing day, the so-called whistleblower hoax regarding the president's phone call with the Ukrainian president becomes more ridiculous. The whistleblowers are dirty. The House Intel Committee Chairman Adam Schiff is dirty. The Intelligence Community Inspector General, in my humble opinion, is dirty. You're on the Senate Intelligence Committee. Are you going to hold hearings to get to the bottom of all this?
So it's unclear right now, Doc, what's going to happen. We've not been in Washington for almost 2 weeks since all of this broke. it may not be something that's suitable for the Senate to proceed with. If there's going to be an impeachment in the House, which regrettably it looks like there very well may be, I'm not sure that having hearings in the Senate is appropriate. You are right, though. You're right that the House, and especially Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, as the president likes to call him, is being nakedly partisan and dishonest with the way he's conducting himself. I mean, he's making up presidential statements at open hearings that are carried live on nationwide television, misleading the American people.
Yeah.
He's not even letting Republicans call their own witnesses and may deprive them of critical knowledge that any minority in the House has always had. And just take a step back. I mean, look, they can have a second whistleblower, a third, or a 15th. The president declassified all the relevant information. He put the transcript out for the entire world. What are the Democrats going to do? Impeach him for covering up a transcript that he put out on the internet? It just goes to show you, Doc, that at root, the Democrats have tried to impeach the president at least 3 times now, 4 times if you include the Russia collusion hoax.
Yeah.
Which fizzled this summer when Bob Mueller released his report. But at bottom, all those impeachment efforts are about the same unforgivable sin that Donald Trump committed, beating Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Yeah, exactly. And you had said, I think the quote in the Democrat Gazette, that it was just a fairly commonplace, mundane, routine phone call. And, of course, Nancy Pelosi, at her press conference the day before the transcript comes out, says, well, we're just going to have to do an impeachment inquiry. Okay, now, the White House just sent Pelosi a letter a few minutes ago saying, look, if you're not even going to have a vote, we're not going to participate anymore. This is not a legal proceeding. Tom, you were, pardon me, Senator Cotton, you were in the U.S. House for a couple of years before you became a senator. Do you really think that Nancy Pelosi is actually going to hold a vote in the House to impeach the president?
So I don't think she's going to do what happened in the Nixon impeachment and the Clinton impeachment, which is to have a vote to initiate the impeachment inquiry.
Yeah.
Why is she not going to do that? Why is she not going to do that, Doc? Well, there's 2 reasons, and they're both partisan. One, she wants to protect her vulnerable Democrats who represent districts where Donald Trump is popular.
Yeah.
Two, if she has that vote, then it will empower the Republican minority in the House to call their own witnesses and issue their own subpoenas. And the last thing the Democratic Party wants is for Hunter Biden to be called to testify in front of a select committee on impeachment. So she's not going to have that vote. But, Doc, unfortunately, I don't see where the Democrats are going to get off the crazy train now that they've set it down the tracks. I mean, I've not heard any Democrat since Nancy Pelosi made her specious announcement of an impeachment inquiry say, you know, the transcript we saw, we may not like it, we may think it's inadvisable, we never like the way the president talks anyway, but it's not impeachable, which is certainly what I think most Arkansans from whom I've heard over the last 2 weeks have said. I just don't see where the Democrats, having gone to such extremes to attack the president, to cry wolf over the last 2.5 years, are all of a sudden going to find moderation or to walk back their extremism or to apologize for squandering time in Washington when we could be doing the people's business. So regrettably, I think this is probably heading to a vote in the House. However that vote will turn out, I can't say. I hope some Democrats, given the facts we know now, come to their senses, but it doesn't seem like many are.
Okay, nationally syndicated talk show host Mark Levin, who comes on after my show, says that if the House were to impeach the president, which is still an open question, Mitch McConnell should use the nuclear option to stop them in their tracks and to avoid a trial in the Senate. What do you think about that idea?
So I don't think that method is necessary to achieve the same goal that Mark is saying.
Okay.
As Senator McConnell said last week, under the Senate rules, there's no option but to act on an article of impeachment.
Right.
And that's been a long-standing custom.
Levin was talking about doing the nuclear option to change the Senate rules because this is such a craven and ridiculous political thing.
So I understand, but it's really not necessary to change the rules to get to the same outcome. There is, under those very same Senate rules, a motion to dismiss articles of impeachment without a trial, and that motion to dismiss is a simple majority vote. Now, that motion was not brought at the outset in 1999 in the Clinton impeachment, in part because the Republicans controlled the Senate. It was later brought as a motion to dismiss at the end of the witnesses in the Clinton impeachment, and it was voted down. But today, and I think Senator Connell has hinted at this, he could file a motion to dismiss as soon as the articles of impeachment arrived, and with a simple majority vote, then that would end the three-ring circus that the Democrats have brought to town.
Great. That's fantastic. Look, let me change subject real quick. Americans were horrified when Virginia Governor Ralph Northam casually endorsed the killing of live babies who survived attempted abortions. Now, you've recently sponsored a bill about this. What would that do?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have accurate data about abortions in this country today, in part because a few states, totaling almost 1/7 of the country's population, don't provide that to the Center for Disease Controls. So our bill would simply say, look, if you want Medicaid family planning money, you have to provide this basic information to the CDC so we can have an accurate picture of the practice of abortion in our country today.
Yeah.
Moreover, as you cited Ralph Northam, many states do not provide data at all on unborn children who are born alive during attempted abortion. Some states have begun providing that information voluntarily, and I got to say, it's deeply disturbing. I mean, one such child is too many in our society to be discarded after they've been born alive.
Amen.
But unfortunately, it's way more than that, and we need to get an accurate picture on it so we can put an end to this abhorrent practice.
Amen. I want to ask you one more question before we both have to run here. This is something I asked then Attorney General Jeff Sessions over a year ago. I just want to get your opinion. You're in a different position than he was, obviously. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton sent and received a lot of classified intel over her unsecured email server. FBI Director Comey changed his characterization of what she did from gross negligence, which is the legal definition of a crime, to extreme carelessness, so he could say she shouldn't be prosecuted. She deleted 30,000 emails under subpoena, had her staff destroy BlackBerries with hammers. You're from Arkansas. I've been here over 5 years now. A lot of people here are just convinced she'll never be held accountable for these and other crimes. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, Doc, I can't say what the Department of Justice is going to do in an ongoing inquiry, and this is ongoing. You may have seen the news a couple of weeks ago that said the State Department is still actively reviewing the matter and still calling in witnesses for interviews. I assume that is being done in concert with the Department of Justice. So I'm not privy to that information. Much of it is probably being operated within grand jury secrecy rules. But I will say this, no one is above the law, and I believe that, and I have confidence in Attorney General Bill Barr adhering to that principle and making the right decision based on the facts and the law, and the right decision for the country.
Very good. U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, thank you so much for coming on the program. As we say here in Arkansas, y'all come see us.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. God bless you.